I'll
Right, okay, right, thank you. Right, okay. Okay, so let's get back. That's about conditional formatting. Right. Then let's move on to we were on that's right. So work to protection password to open you can't open without a password. Password to modify you can open without a password in read only mode. But can you modify? Yes, you can modify also. Then you will ask whatever the point of putting a password. But you can't save under the same name that particular document. You have to change the name and save it. So your original document will be intact, right? That's the idea. So I'm not going to do it much. You go to save or save as, and then when you go to save as, here just before the save button you get options, tools. Under tools you get general options. In that you get password to open and password to modify. Okay, let me just show it here. I'll click on file and go to save as. You browse and go to wherever you want to save. Here, the save button is here. Joining that, you get a thing called tools. Click on that. If you go to general options, you get password to open, password to modify. Right? Now, what do you mean by read only recommend? That is, it will not ask the question, read only. It will automatically open, but in read only mode when you click this. That's all. Right? So that's, I think, very straightforward. And always the password has to be entered twice for you to remember it, right? The Can you open the sample file for number 7B? Protection. Pass. Yeah. Go to the first one. Sheet protection. Worksheet protection, where you can protect the whole sheet or some cells of the sheet. Now here, look at the question one. Allowed to enter only the month, week, OT hours. Use the password as 123. Why I put that is because otherwise you forget the password, right? You can put anything you want, but so the blue color cells only you can enter. Okay. You are allowed to enter only the month, week, and the OT hours. Not you can't change this. Now remember, this is how it works. By default, listen to this carefully. If you understand the principle, it's very easy. All the cells are locked. Let me open a new workbook, brand new workbook. Just open a new workbook. If you select a set of cells, okay, if you select a set of cells and right click and go to format cells, this is how you check whether it's locked or not. Go to protection tab. Can you see the lock is in? मैं ඔක්කොම cells lock पे ला दी. Say okay. But the lock is not working. Locks are working. The 1 billion odd cells are locked by default. But it's not working. That's why you can enter anything. Like the trip switch at your home. The trip switch is off by default. But when you put the trip switch, all the lights which are on and off will start working and not working. You can see the effect only when you put the trip switch. So remember, the trip switch in this case is your password. Now if I put a password without doing anything, if I go to protect sheet, go to review and say protect sheet, put the password 123, what happens? All the 1 billion cells locks will start working. 123 again. You can't enter anything anywhere. You can't enter anything anywhere. That is the principle. So password is like the trip switch. So before putting the trip switch, you have to make sure what is on and what is off. Then I remove, unprotect it again by putting the password. Now we are back to base. So what we have to do is select from here and there. Let's say these are the things that I want to work with, these cells. Let me color them for us to know what it is. Select from here and there. Right click and go to format cells, right? And go to protection and remove the lock. The lock එක අයින් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේ colored cells වල විතරයි. Still nothing, no difference. You can enter anything here, enter anything here. No difference between the colored and non-colored. But the moment you put the password, protect sheet, and put 123 or any password for that matter, now you can enter in this. You can enter here, but you can't enter here. Can't enter there. Only in the colored cells you can enter. Why? Before doing the password, we remove the lock of the colored cells. Right? So here you can enter, but not here. That is the principle. So let's go to this and apply that. What you have to do is select this, press the control key, select this, keep all these, select all these things. Right click, go to format cells, go to protection. When you go to format cells, it will be like this. Protection tab. Remove the lock and say OK. Still nothing is working because the trip switch is off. Now the moment you put the password, what happens? Everything other than the blue colored cells where I remove the lock will start working the locks. So go to review now and put the password 123. Say OK. 123. Say OK. Right. Now can I enter here? No. Can I change this department? No. But can I enter the OT hours? Yeah. Can I enter the week? Yes. Week number 4, month January. Done. Okay. Let's say I want to sort it by department. Can I sort it? Right click, sort. No. Can't. Can I insert a row? Right click, insert. No. Can I delete? No. All locked. Right. Now put the password and unprotect it. 123. Let's say I want to protect, but I want to allow them to insert and sort. Then what you do is, at the time of protecting, there are some options. May tick kala tiyanewa allow venawa. So insert rows, I put a tick. Sort, I put a tick. And then I put the password. Right? 1, 2, 3. Now can I insert a row? Let's say I go here. Yeah, you can insert. Earlier it didn't allow to insert. Can I sort it? No. The cell or chart you're trying to change is on a protected sheet. To make change, click unprotect sheet and rewrite. You have to sort. Sorting is not allowed. Why that? But inserting is allowed. Let's see data. Okay. Anyway, inserting is allowed. I'll check on that why sorting is not allowed, but it gives option there, right? Early it didn't allow. Right. Yeah. Then another thing. Now, let's say when you go to this cell, you can see the value here. You can click on it. Even though it's protected, you can click that and see the value. So sometimes you don't like people seeing the formulas. So in that case, what you can do is unprotect the sheet by putting the password. And at the time of protecting, you can say remove the select lock cells. You can lock karapu cells, select karanna bari karna. Select karot ne penne. When you select only, you can see. So I remove this and then say OK. Now the thing is, you can't even click here. Only these things you can click. So you can't see anything what is there. Mewa puluwa. But mewa uda click karanna bad. So those options are there. Right? That's a sheet protection. The next one, click on the next one. Edit ranges. Very interesting. In the same sheet, let's say this particular sheet is going to different departments. So when it goes to the HR department, you are allowing only this area to be changed. From there, when it goes to finance, they can enter only this. And when it goes to admin, they can enter only this. Right? If the same report is going to different, you are emailing it. Enter the data, email. Now, if you give a normal password, then you have to tell everyone the password. A password is unlock, right? So that won't work here. For that, there's another option called, you don't have to unprotect or protect yourselves. Straight away, click on allow users to edit ranges on review tab and say new. Range 1, you can keep it as range 1 if you want, or you can say HR department, whatever you want. Refers to cells, select these cells. This is the first range. What is the password? Now you can do it in two different ways. Either you put a password or assign it to the user. Now I can't do it here, assign to the user, because I'm not in a domain. But in your office, when you're doing it, better do that without giving a password, or you can give both. So that you don't have to remember the password. When you log in, if you're assigned that, you can straight away log into that. So I'll show you both. If I'm working in one of your computer, then I can do it, but here we can't do it. Let's do the password first. So for this one, I'm going to put a password called HHH and say okay. HHH, say okay, done. Then I'm going to put another range, new range. Range 2, what is the cells? This range, this is the cells. Right. Password is, I'm going to say FFF, okay. You can give any password, but just doing it. Then new, range 3, what is the range from here to here? Password is AAA. Right. Now I given 3 passwords for the 3 ranges. But still, there's one more question. Who's going to give these passwords? Is it HR, admin, no? Finance? Or another person? Can somebody give me the answer? What do you think? Should I allow admin to give the password to the other 2 departments? No point, then he knows the password of the other 2. I can't give any of these people the authority to give the password to the others, because they themselves are protected. So that's not done. So then it should be the IT administrator or database administrator or some superior who has to do this operation. So that person will have a super password. That is, after giving the passwords, you have to say protect sheet. Protect sheet. When you click protect sheet, it asks for that normal password. Now this is the super password. I'll put YYY and say YYY and say okay, right. Now see, now I send it to departments. So when it goes to the HR department, he tries to change this name or whatever. You can't change. It asks for a password. When you enter the password only, what is the password I gave? HHH. Then that gets unlocked. So now you can change this whole thing. You can change, right? You can put Sagar, right? Any of these you can change. Only the blue color area, but not the green color or the pink color area. For that, there's another password. I have to enter that password for that area to get unlocked, right? So what is the password for that? FFF. Sorry, you have to enter it only once. So there you are. Now you can change the green color area. Now when you save it, everything gets locked again, right? Otherwise, no point, no? If I unlock this and send it, now both are unlocked. But the one department will do that and save it and then email it. So when you email again, everything is locked, right? But still you can't enter anything here. You have to enter the password for that A. And then you can enter anything here, right? Yes, yes, no, yes, whatever you want. Okay. Now, I'll unprotect the sheet by putting the admin password. Right? Now, at the time giving this, allow users to edit ranges, I gave 3 passwords from outside. But if you go to permission, now this is what you have to try in Office. Please try this. One person can try this, or all of you can try this. Click on permission. Either you can do both or just permission. And then say add. Here you have to put your email address. So you can do it in your office machine. I just put asoka.icad@gmail.com. Put the password and put the name and then say check names. So in my case, it won't come. But when you say check names, it will underline. That means it's there in your domain. Like that, you can keep on adding about 3 people in that department or any number of people in that department so that they don't have to enter a password. They automatically, when they open with their user ID, it's open for them. Right? So that's a better way of doing it. Otherwise, people forget their passwords. Right? That's a very useful thing, giving different passwords in the same sheet. Okay. No one is asking questions. I don't know why. Let's move on. Okay. What happened? Enter Excel reference presentation. Only PowerPoint. Right. Okay. So there you are. What I told you. By default, all cells are locked. The lock is activated only when the sheet is protected. So select and right-click cells that need to be unprotected. You have got this PDF of this, so you can try that. Select protection tab, deselect lock. There you are. All that is given, detailed instructions are given. Protect sheet. Ticked options will be active. There you are. The above feature is useful to hide formulas in cells, right? Then edit ranges, I've taken the same thing. Go there, review, allow you to edit ranges and say new, and then put your passwords, right? Next one is text to column. Open module 8A. We'll do it fast because we need time. 8A. Okay. There is exercise which you can do. I'll just show it. Now, text to columns, if you want to separate something, let's say this is in one, the name, title, first name, last name, I want to separate it into 3 columns. There are different ways you can put the find, left, right, mid, and find, and then do it. It's a long process, but text to column is very useful. Select the data, text to column. Delimiter, there are 2 options. Delimited means, you know what a delimiter is? Any character used to separate something. It could be a space or a dot or a slash or dash, whatever. So here it's the 3 items are separated by a space. Fixed width means something like this here. 2 letters slash 3 digits, all are like that. So it's a fixed width you can use. But dealing this you can't use a fixed width. මොකද මිස්ට් එකේ digits 2යි මිස් 21 එකේ 3යි මිස් එකේ 4යි. It's not fixed width. So I use delimited. Next. What is the delimiter? Not the tab. Space. Can you see it got separated here? Right. If you say finish, what happens? It will put on top of that. Otherwise, you say next. Go to another step and give the destination. Delete this and give the destination as this one. So make a පටන් ගන්නවා මෙතනින්. එහෙනම් title එක මෙතන, first name මෙතන, last name මෙතන, and say finish. There you go. Let's do it for this. Text to column. Can I use a fixed width? No. I have to use a delimited. Now none of these delimiters. Make it in a slash again. You say other and type the slash. Can you see it got separated? Right. I'll say next and I'll give the destination as here. Finish. Did it work properly or is there any issue in this? Can somebody figure out anything wrong with this? What is the problem? The 0 is missing. Why? Because a number will not give the leading zeros. Can you see? Zeros are missing. So let me delete it. Make a 0, 0, 1, 2 is only 1, 2 now. But I want it with the zeros. Now remember when I started doing it long time ago, I didn't know that. Luckily nobody asked that question. But one day I figured out the zeros are missing. Then I went to internet and looked for it. Lucky no one asked that question, right? So this is how we do it. Go to text to column, delimited, next, go to next. And here it's in a very, it's in a hidden place. That's why you can't see it. You can always go back and see, okay, it's done properly. So go to next. Here, this general means a format. In general format, leading zeros are not shown in numbers. So what we have to do is select this column. This is how you select the columns here. And make it text. Text. Now it will be 0012. Say finish. Destination, I'll put it here. There you go. Now it comes with the 0 with a small flag saying it's a number stored as text. So you can select the whole thing and say ignore error. So the zeros are there. Right. This you can do with the fixed width or delimiter, both. Text to column. I'll go to fixed width. Can you read these 3 lines? You simply click. If you want to break line here, you click there. Another one here, you click there. That's all. And if you say finish, it will put it on top of this. I'll say next. And I click here as a destination where you want to put the output. I click here. And then I'll say finish. So what happens? All 3 will come. There you go, the slash. But this one I don't want. So I'll undo it. What do you do then? If you don't want any part of it to be taken, you can remove that also. Let's say text to column, fix width, next, select, click. If you double click, it will go off. Click again. And you go to next. And select this, whatever you don't want, you select from here and say do not import. If you want only the last 3 numbers, you can select both and say do not import. Then you get only do not import. Make a but this one I'll remove that. So I need text. Make a text. Make a do not import here. Make a text. I'll make it text. So the zeros are there. Say finish. If you want, put the destination here and say finish. There. So you can do not import is also very useful, right? Now look at these dates. Both dates are same. But if you go to date format and format it, will you format it? Click on home tab. Long date doesn't get formatted. Why? It's a text. There cannot be a month called 20. Actually, the 2013 41. So there can't be a month called 20 or 2013. First comes a year, then comes a month, then there is a wrong format. How to correct this? Very easy with this. I think this is the most important thing that I use it for. When you get data from this SAP and MoveX and all that databases, sometimes the date is in the wrong format. So what you do, select it, data text to column, simply click next and next. Don't worry where you are, go to next, and here click on date and change the format to format what you have here. It's YMD. First the year, then the month, then the day. So change it to YMD, right? And say finish, it will put on top of that. Now there's no, I put it in that format. Can you see it became a valid date? Right. I'll do this for that. Do it again. Text to column. Simply say next, and change it to date and put the format which is there, YMD, and say finish. I'll finish it there. The data is having some problem here. This is some data extracted by MoveX data. So that's why it's going on and on. It's the same thing, but I had the other one, right? Anyway, put me out also. That data has some special characters. Now this happens when you get data, when you import data from other places, this can happen, right? So what you should do is copy and paste it as text. Then it won't happen, right? So you saw that I couldn't do it because that has some special characters which we can't see. So what you do is you select this, Control C, delete it and paste it on top of the, sorry, Control C and right click and paste as values. And now you do the thing, it should work, right? When the moment I put values, can you see it became the green color thing came up? So now it's clear with all those unwanted things. You can go to data, text to column, next, next, YMD, there you go. One shot it came. Earlier it didn't come. Remember that also. That's good that it happened because this data was taken from a ERP system. So when you get data from other systems, sometimes you can't see, but there are hidden characters. So what you do is copy and paste as values. Then it's okay, right? Done. So combining data, the opposite of that can be done by using the concatenate function or the ampersand. If you have this in, you want in one cell, you say equal concatenate. Don't go to type the whole thing, just type con and then double click on it. That's easy. This one, comma this one, comma this one, comma this one. But all will be together. Doesn't look good. You need some spaces in between. So what you do is put the spaces within double quote, space, double quote, and a comma. Here also, double quote, space, double quote, and a comma. If you want to put a dash or whatever, you can put within double quote. Now it looks better. There. So copy it down. Ampersand also works the same way. It's easier. Equal this. And let me put that space, otherwise it looks ugly. And this one, and space, and this, and space, and there. That's opposite of that. Right? Done. Text column. That's how we go there. Spark clients is a very easy thing. Go open 80, open number 80, just 5 minutes. There you can see password to modify. You click on read only. You can save under some other name. Look at this data. I want to get a graphical output onto this cell. Line, column, and win loss. There are three. Line means like a line chart. Column means like a column chart. Win loss will show you whether it's minus or plus or negative or positive. That's all. It won't show the level. Right. Simply select this, the data. Select the data. Insert line. These are the three you have. Line. Location, where do you want it? Where data range is already selected. Click here and say okay. You get the line. Right. Select the same thing. I'll do it again for the other one. Insert. I'll put the column. Output is here. Done. Select the same thing. Insert. Win loss. Where's the output? I want it here. Now select all three. Double click on this. It'll copy down. Oh, and drag it there. Right? Okay. Okay. Now you can see here the negative values will be red color, positive will be blue. After that, you can select these three and you can go to design and you can say the high points you want to show. There, the high points are marked there with the red dot. If you want the low ones or both negative points, like that, you can give different colors. The first point, last point, and you can put markers for every point there. So I just put the high points only and mark the colors. High point color, I want it green. So you can see all the high points are green. Now what's the big, yeah, it's very easy to get it. Remember, this is a cell value. This is a cell value. If you want, you can type inside this cell, but this is by hiding this, right? Okay, you can say, this is sales. I type inside the sales, inside the cell, sales. And then what do I do? So this is experience. Expenses, sorry, not experience, expenses. And this is profit. So remember, it's a cell value. Then I select the all three and make it maybe home tab. I'll make it center and center here and make it big and then make it a light color so that in the background you know what it is, otherwise it doesn't stand out. So those type of things you can do with this, especially for dashboards we use this, right? For dashboards we can use this. So it's a cell, you have the value as well as the chart also inside the same cell. Now when you put a chart, it's a different object, but here it's a cell value. That's the difference, right? Formula auditing allows you to graphically display the relationship between formulas and cells. Okay, so it's under formulas, formula auditing. Open 8C, A and B, there are two. Open both. Open both, select both and then say open. Go to 8A, select 8, sorry, 8A is text to column. I'll close that. 8, 8C, there are two. Yeah. So let me make it big, right? Now look at this. You have currency here, you have the sales on this one, another sheet. Right? Now I want to see where this particular cell is used. Because if I make a change, I should know what are the things that will get affected. Make a macros මොකද වෙන්නේ errors වෙන්නේ මොනවද? So what do I do is I select that. I want to see the dependents which are dependent on this. Making yapenna dependence. Formula trace dependence. Precedence දාලා බලන්න මොකුත් නැතුව ඇති. No precedence. This is just a value here. Just a value කියන්නේ precedence නැහැ. Formula එකක් නම් තමයි precedence එන්නේ. නේද? ඒ කියන්නේ තව cell එකක් use කරන්නේ formula එකක් නම්. මේක use වෙන්නේ you have to say dependence. Can you see it puts a dependence onto a different sheet, right? There you are. You double click on the arrow, you can see all these are dependent on that. 8C, we are in formula auditing A. But you can see formula auditing B එකේ මේ cells ඔක්කොම මේක refer වෙනවා. You can see where it refers to. So if I delete this, all those will become error. Right? So I select any of these and say okay. It will go there and show you. Yeah, this cell is referring that. Alright. formula auditing A currency C3 is using. So if you go to the other sheet, C3 median sheet. These are the two sheets. C3 is this one. C3 is 180. That is used by that. That is what you mean by formula auditing. Now if I go to this, I'll select all these cells and put a formula audit to trace the precedence. It'll put two here. One is from the same sheet, the other one is from a different workbook. මේකෙනුයි දෙකම use වෙනවා. මේ දෙකම use කරලා තමයි මේක හැදලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? So again, if I click here on the arrow click කරන්න. Arrow එක double click කරන්න. Then you can see where it's referring to. Formula auditing A currency. Right? So select this and say OK. It'll take you there where it's using. So it's a very, and you don't want the arrows, you can say remove arrows. Right? I think we are running out of time, so we'll quickly move on. That's formula auditing. Goal seek is also just a 5-minute thing. Read it. To do reverse calc and see, like, what should I do to get this amount? Something like that. 8D, open 8D. Let's say, look at this. Find the discount that should be given to sell the item as 2075 and 50 cents. At the moment, we are selling at 2090. So I want to find the discount to sell it at 2075 and 50 cents. Now what you can do is keep on changing the discount and see, but it takes a long time. Right? Before that, I want to find out what are the formulas in this. Right? I want to find out what are the formulas in this. Okay. So to find out the formulas, yeah, sorry for that. There's a request to put in the chat box. What is the file? Module 8D goal seek. Module 8D goal seek. That's the file that I'm using now. I put in a chat box. Okay. So if you want to find out all the formulas in your worksheet and delete them at once, there's an easy way is click on Home tab and find and select and say formulas. You can see all the formulas are selected now. Let me color it without deleting. I'll color it. So that's one way of, if you want to give your worksheet to somebody without the formulas and you want to delete them, go to Home, find and select formulas and press the delete key. I just colored them, right? I just colored them. Right. Now, click on formulas. Hello. Yeah, any question? You know what to do. I need to sell it at this amount and find out to sell that at this amount, what is the discount I should give. So go to data, what if analysis, goal seek. Very straightforward. What is the cell that you want to set? I want to set this cell. Click on that cell. Value, unfortunately, you can't refer a cell, you have to type it. 2075 and 50 cents. By changing, now why I colored these, you can't use any of these because these are formulas, yellow ones. So either you have to use this or this or this. The most appropriate is this. By changing this cell, see what happens. You have to give 5.65909 discount percentage to sell it at 2075. Okay, very useful. Okay. VLOOKUP. I think all of you must be using VLOOKUPs. Vertical lookup. There's another one called HLOOKUP. That is horizontal lookup. I'll just do that. Let me open. I'll tell you what to open. VLOOKUP 9A1. Module 9A1, 9A-1, VLOOKUP employee data. Right? 9A1. Okay. Let me put it on checked. This is the file we are working. Module. Sorry. 9A1 VLOOKUP emp data. This is the file I'm using now. This has two sheets. One has the master data. Other one I need to fill up. Why we use VLOOKUP is to bring data from another data table onto another sheet. It could be another table or just a cell. But we are bringing it from a table or a list, right? Bringing from a table or a list, right? Now, look at this. It needs 4 inputs to work. One is a lookup value. What is the value that you are looking up to bring the data? That's what. Then from where are you bringing it? That's a table array. And which column of that table that you want it here? It's not column names A, B, C, D, but it's numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. And whether it's a range lookup or an exact match, right? So we'll do the exact match first. Remember, it allows you to search the first column of a range of cells. Now, when you select a range of cells in your data list, it will search only the first column of the selection, not the second or third. So whatever on the right side of the first column can be taken, not the ones on the left side. Remember that. Look at this. To do this, we have to have a common field in both places. So here, which should not have duplicates in the table. Make it in pull on duplicates, but make it in a bit. It will bring only the first one. So when I put the employee number here, it go and search the employee number in this, and when it finds it, it can either bring the department, name, city or salary from this table onto this. That's what done by VLOOKUP. So there is a link, and the column index numbers are numbered as always. Remember, the link field is number 1. I'm naming that. Link field is 1. Onto the right, you count 2, 3, 4. So if I want the salary, I have to call for number 5. If you want the name, I have to call for number 3. Not A, B, C, D or these names. Just numbers. So this is your syntax. Lookup value column should always be the first column of the table that you're selecting. Range lookup option, the table has to be sorted. Just forget it for the time being. Could be on a different sheet or different workbook. Right. So let's see. I need to bring the department from there. Right. Let's go and see here. What is my link field in these two? For these two, what is the link field? Employee number. Right. Here also we have the employee number. And here. And so the employee number has to be the first column. So when I select this data, I have to select from here only. So do I get the department in this selection? No. So we have an issue. You can't select from here. Always the link field, this is my link field, has to be the starting point of my selection. There may be data on the left side, no problem, but you can't pick them. So the first thing you should do is select this and move it onto this side and keep it there. Now you can pick anything. Right. Now if I want the department, what is the column index number that I have to call for? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you want the designation, you have to call for number 8. If you want the salary, you have to call for number 5. Date of birth, number 6, like that. These are numbers, right? You don't have to number them, but remember the number. So here we go to VLOOKUP. Understand it properly, it's very easy. VLOOKUP. Lookup value for this department is this, comma. Table array is on the other sheet. So simply with the mouse you click that sheet, select the table from here to here. Comma. What is the department? Number 9. Why? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I call for number 9. Comma. It's an exact match I want. So I double click on exact match. Right. This has an issue. I'll show you what the issue is. This is a very common mistake a lot of people do. Do I get it? Yes. Let's see whether this is correct. 1015 department is finance. Let's see. 1015 is where? This one. Where's the department? Finance. Perfect. But the problem is when you copy it down, some of the departments are missing. It says 1009, the department is missing. No department for 1009. That means this 1009 record is not there. Let's see whether it is there. 1009 is there, but it can't fix it. It can't find it. Let's see what the reason is. Let me take the formula of 1009 and see what is wrong. This is a very common mistake people do. How to copy the formula? Control C, escape. Let me put it to the master field and then without the equal sign, otherwise it will put that, right? Right, okay. This is my formula, which is giving an error, saying it's not there. What is it looking for? C12. What is C12? This one. That is correct. Right. And it's looking for master data, that is this sheet, the sheet name, C12 to K29. C12 is here, K29 is here. It's checking in this range. Now, by now, you should know what the issue is. Checking for 9th one. 9th is this. So, do you get 1009 in this range which is colored? No. What has happened? The range also has got shifted, which should not happen. This is a very common mistake people do. They say my data is there, but it says not applicable. Why? You don't fix a range. You have to fix a range in VLOOKUP. Remember, if you have, especially if you are dragging down. Even otherwise, as a practice, make sure that you fix a data range, not the lookup value, the data range. You know, always you fix a data range for VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, then you're safe. මේ රේන්ජ් එකක් පල්ලෙහාට ගිහිල්ලා මුල ඒවා ටික වුණා පස්සේව නැහැ. So what do I do there? Make sure for this one, fix a range. Fix a range to C5 to K22 and copy it down. You'll find everything, you get the answers. Right. So the range is the same, you're checking. Now to get it to this one, it's only the, okay, let me do it now. Just do one and show you. Equal VLOOKUP. Lookup value is employee number, comma. Go to master data. Select the range from here up to here only. But press the function key 4 or FNF4 and fix it, comma. I need number 5. Why? This is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. Salary is 5. And press enter. Don't go back with the mouse. Click. It will go back. So the basic salaries are these. Now, do I have to do it again? No, I can copy this. Control C, escape, and paste it here and change only the number. Resignation can number 8. There you go. So that works. There you go. That is right. That's a VLOOKUP. Now let's see VLOOKUP range. Open. Number 9A3. VLOOKUP range. I'll put it on the chat also. Module 9A3 VLOOKUP range. Okay. So let me type it here. Module 9A3. Make a thumbnail. Open current. Right. Now here, it's a range lookup, approximate match, not exact match. It has to match employee number to employee number, but here it's a approximate match because we can give a range for this. But it is always the range has to start from the lower end. Start with 0. What's the next point? 40. What's the next point? 60. Imagine after 80 is distinction. So next point is 80. So you develop your table. Right? This is I'm going to put the table. So the table works always from 0 to 40. Let me color this. What you need, you should put here. Fail. Make it a bit bigger. And then 40 to 60, what you need, what you get will be whatever you get here. At the lower end, not the upper end, higher end. Always the lower end one will be the relevant one. Credit. And this is distinction. Above 80 is distinction. So let's put the, now I have made the table. Right, if it is between these two, I'll put a different color. You'll get credit. Other two I can't color. Color color. So equal VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this. This is the one I'm going and checking in this table. Table array, if you want, you can select the column straight away. That is also possible. Or if you select like this, you put a $sign, comma. This is column 1, this is column 2. Column index number 2, comma. Here is a change. No exact match, it has to be approximate match. Why? Because there's no 78 in this. 78 is between 60 and 80, so it should come as credit. Let's see. Credit. There's no 34. 34 is between 0 and, so it's fair. Okay. So there are some examples. OT calculation. That's for you to refer. You know, in OT, when the timeout is 7:15, if you're calculating the time with half an hour ranges, then you round it off to 7 o'clock. 7:30 is 7:30. 6:25 to 6. Right? 6 is 6. 8:18 to 8. Round off to half an hour, 1 hour, or whatever. So here we have done it with the VLOOKUP. Between 5 and 5:30, this is what you need. Between 5:30 and 6, 5:30. Like that. You can study that. That's for your this exercise where you can study the same. Here we are. I'll just do it. Equal VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this time. Table array. I can select this from here. If you want, you can select only this C1 and select column 1. That also works. Or select both and select column 2. Right? Make sure you put the F4. I put column 2, comma. Here you have to say approximate match. Yeah, 5:30 is 5:30. 7:15 will become 7. Done. Let's move on. It's a long syllabus we are trying to do in 6 hours. That's why. Right? HLOOKUP, the same thing on the other way. Let's open 9B. I'll do that also. HLOOKUP. Right? Mark sheet. H means horizontal lookup. You are looking up horizontally. That's what it means. How you are in the table, how your lookup field is entered, whether it's vertically or horizontally. That's all matters. That's how you decide whether it's HLOOKUP or VLOOKUP. in the table, now you have a lookup field no, where you are going in the table and searching. How that is positioned in the table, vertically or horizontally. Now here, ICT marks. I'll delete this. I want to get these 2 marks for this name. So what is my lookup field? Name. How is the name positioned in the table? Horizontally, not vertically. That's the difference. So then I have to put H lookup. So the answer is there at the bottom in light color, but I'll just say equal H lookup. Lookup value is this, comma. When you select now, remember when you select, you have to make sure that you select what? The lookup value has to be included in my selection. Lookup value has to be included in my selection. So you can either select from here or you can select from here, the whole thing. But put a $sign and fix it. What is the row index number? It's not the column index it's asking, row index. For IT marks, what is the row index? IT marks, what is the row index? In the selection, not the row number. In the selection, this is my selection. What is the row number for IT marks? This is 1, this is 2, row number 3. Like the column index, now it's 3. That's all. Comma, exact match, yes. It has to be exact match. Marks, 1-to-1 match. You get 90. So let's say whether Prasanna has got 90. 95 IT, there you go. Prasanna. Change it to here data validation to Romesh. It will become 72. Romesh, IT, 72. Correct. Right. Mathematic marks equal H lookup. Sorry. Equal H lookup. Lookup value is again the name, comma, table array. Select this. Press the function key 4. What is the row number for maths? 1, 2. This is 1. In the selection, this is 1, this is 2. Exact match. You get 53 for Romesh. That's Romesh. Maths marks 53, yes. Done. That's H lookup. Okay. Table features of Excel and then pivot tables. Module 10A. When collecting and storing data, make sure that you store the data like this. Always a heading and the data. This is slightly shifted. Sorry for that. Right. I better correct it now itself. Right. Okay. Let me save it. We will do the changes then and there. So it has to be like that. Heading and data. Do not have blank rows and columns in between the data set. Have the headings in a different format. Right? When you format your data as a table, there are some advantages. Formulas and functions are updated automatically. Table rows and columns are independent. Total row is available on request and expand automatically. Okay, let's see. What's the name for that? 10A. Can you open number 10A? Number 10A. Excel tables. Look at these two. Both looks the same. How do you know it's a table? Is there are 2 ways. The last cell of the range will have a small blue color reverse L here, small gadget here. That means it's a table. This doesn't have. But then you can't be going to the last cell all the time if it's a 1 millionth row. So when you select inside, if you see a table tool tab here, that means it's a table. When you select inside, it's not there, it's not a table. Now, The most important thing here, it's already converted to a table. I'll show you how to do it. Let's say how to put it back to a normal listing range. Right click on any cell of the table or go to table design, right? And say convert to range. It's already made a table. I'll convert and show you how to make it. Do you want to convert? Yes. Now it's a range. Here you can't see the tools. So let's convert to a table. Format as table on home tab. Select any color you want. My table as set as okay. Right now it's a table. Automatically the filters will come. If you don't like the filters, you can go here and go to data and remove the filter. That's not an issue, right? But still it's a table. Look at this. The sum F7 to F16 here. Here sum N7 to N16. Now this is a table. I'm going to put the sum here. See what happens. Look at the formula here. N7, N8, N9, N10, N10. The moment you select everything, what happens? Puts a table name and the column heading name. If it's a table. That's the advantage. Its value is the same. Value is the same. I'm going to add something here. A1. And I'm going to put 2500 here. Does it change the value total? No. This didn't change. I'm going to put A1 here. What happens to the table? It expands. The last point. So that gets included. So I put 2500 here. See the total on top of this. It changes automatically. That's a very big advantage. If you have 150 formulas using this table data, all that 150 will change when you add or delete data. That's number one. Other one is you can select, let's say I'll select these three here, right click and say delete table rows. Nothing happens to this data. If you have tables side by side, it's independent. You can insert, but if I delete from here, then you can see everything gets deleted. No, all this, right? Other one is go to design and say total row. Automatically put up a total row at the bottom. The last column is sum. If you want the average, you go here and say average. If you want the count, you get the count. If you want the maximum value of that, you get the maximum. Sum. Let's say you want the sum of this also. You go there. Every column has that. You get the sum of that. Very fast. Anytime you can remove that. Sorry. Yeah. How to remove it? Simply go to the table, go to table tools and then remove the total. But next time put it, it will come back with the data that you inserted earlier, right? That's table, right? Let's move on to the main thing now. Pivot tables and pivot charts. I'm sure a lot of people are using pivot tables, but I'm sure you'll figure out something new. Read it. It's the most powerful tool in Excel. So you can do a lot of things with pivot tables. The important thing is the prerequisites. To do a pivot table, how your data should be. It doesn't mean you have to format it as a table, but it should be heading and data like that. But if you format as a table, so much the better, right? There are advantages if you convert it to a table. But without making the table, if you have your data like this, still you can do pivot tables. Do not have empty cells or merge cells in the range or headings. Empty cells you can have, I think You all said you all do using pivot tables. Have you come across situations where when you put a number to the number box, you're expecting a sum but you're getting a count? Sum එක එන්න ඕන තැන් වලට count එක එනවා නම් ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ column එකේ either there's a blank field or a text column, text field. That's why you get, right? Then you have to manually go and make it sum. So therefore avoid as much as possible the blank ones, but merge cells you can't have either in the headings, the column headings or this. Every column should have a heading. Blank rows and blank columns it will stop the selection. Have the heading in a different format. Now the last one, make sure the headings are bottom line headings. I'll explain what that is. Okay. This is a typical summary report. If I may take you backward from a summary report to a pivot table, because it's actually based on this. What are these? These are called rows. In a summary report, you can have row headings. So remember, these are called row headings. Why? May row එක ඔක්කොම තියෙන gold ඒවා. All the items in this row is gold items. These are silver items. So it's a row heading. And these are columns and these are column headings. And this is called the report heading. The same report can be taken for females. So it's in a higher level. These two are in the same level if you compare the levels. Now the pivot table is based on this. Here at the middle, what you have is the values. The heading for that is given here. That's a pivot table layout, identical. If you put the values, there you are. Sum of cards sold, it will say what it is, whether it could be a count or the max or average of cards, anything. So the heading for the green color area is here. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Please answer me. You don't have to open this, just watch it. With this data, can I do a pivot table? A pivot report? What do you think? Every column has a heading. No blank rows. No blank columns. How do you find whether there are merge cells? What is the easiest way? Select the range and see whether this is selected. No. So no merge cells. මුළු sheet එකේම merge cells එක සැරේ අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන් by selecting here. Merge cells නෑනේ මේක click කරා ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා අයින් වෙනවා. So remember those small tricks. But still you can't do a perfect pivot table for this. The reason is the headings. Okay. What is the heading for this? What do you have these numbers? Can somebody tell me what are these numbers? Have I shown what those numbers are? No. We don't know what it is. It could be the average of something. Card sold or we don't know. So remember, a perfect heading should be there for each column. And this heading is not a bottom line heading as I called it. That's my term, bottom line. Why? Because this can be broken into another heading. What is the heading that it can be broken into? Zone. Remember, in a pivot table, data can become a heading. That happens. Data becomes a heading. But this is actually the way of presenting data. Not collecting data. A lot of people do this mistake. This is ideally presenting the data. Everyone will like to get your data like this, and then on the heading you can say cards sold or total cards. So then you know what it is, right? Otherwise you don't know what these numbers are. But the collecting data for this one is like this. Very straightforward. Card type, zone, card sold. There you have a heading now. මේක අපි දන්නේ නැහැ මොකක්ද කියලා heading එක. මෙතන දැම්මේ නැත්තම් දන්නේ නැහැ. Right. So this is the way of collecting data. This is the way of presenting data. Remember that. A lot of people collect their data by putting the months this way. January, May, never do that. You have to put month and put the month one under the other, but it will be a long report when you put it one under the other. But that's why you are given 1 million rows, right? That's why you are given 1 million rows and only 16,000 columns, right? So when you have the data like this, within couple of seconds you can get that report. See, card type, zone, card sold. You want the zone onto this one, you remove it here. You got the same report within couple of seconds, not even a minute. And you got the totals also. So that is pivot tables, right? Can you open this sample file to show you what are the other things you can do with pivot tables? Can you open number 10E? 10E. Number 10E. Pivot sales data. Pivot sales data. Number 10E, pivot sales data, right? You can see there are a lot of records here, about 690 records. Invoice number is there, date invoice, customer, sales rep, district, brand, code, description, quantity, unit price, invoice amount. I'll remove the filter of this. Okay. Headings in a different format. Every column has a proper heading. You can't break these headings into any other thing. No blank rows, no blank columns. Done. Right, okay. Now, how to do a pivot table? Select a cell inside, not outside. Insert pivot table and click on OK. Click on OK. You will get something like this. Either it will be here or on the other side, right? I'm going to take you some time, some of your time. Excuse me for that because the content is too much. What do you think? Shall we proceed or is it okay? Okay, right. So this field list, if you want, you can move it from this end here, right? I'll put it to this side. It will automatically settle down. Settle down. Now, last time I told you something happened to me. When I first started doing pivot tables, I bought a book, spent some 2,200 rupees, tried to do the pivot tables. So it worked perfectly. It had a CD with some sample files, but suddenly the list went off like this. I didn't know what to do. I stopped doing pivot tables. Then when I went to Dr. Nitin's class only, it happened, and then he said what has happened. What has happened is I have clicked outside. I click again inside, then it will get this. Make a gigamong. You don't know whether you are standing or sitting if you don't know what happened. So here you are. Click inside, it will come back. Right. These are my headings. What you need as a column heading or row heading is what matters. Okay. Before that, let me explain. Get back here. Okay. Let's say separate sheets can be created for fields in filter cage. If you put a field onto this filter cage, you can create separate sheets for each item in that column. Very powerful. Fields in this column will appear as column headings. Whatever you put here will come as column headings. Now you know what column headings are. And row headings are these. And the values are here. So these normally we put, if you put numbers here, you can group them, but you can't calculate. If you want to calculate, you put the numbers onto this box. If you put a text field onto this box, you can only count them. You can't take a sum for a text field. Right. So numbers are normally put in the orange color box. But if you put the numbers onto other two, you can do a thing called grouping. So here we are. Select a cell, click on insert the steps, pivot table. Okay. Done. If you want to get this report out, you have to identify what are your column headings, what are your row headings, and what are your data. So column headings are these: country. Row headings are factory. This is a different one. Right. So anyway, so let's do with our data. Let's say I want the customer as a column heading, then you have to drag it and drop it here. These are all my customers. Right? I want the district as a row heading, you simply tick it or drag it. Tick. And I want to find the sales done, invoice amount. That's a simple pivot. Gold candy. Okay. Let's say I don't want it by this one. So I remove this customer and I want to see the sales done by each sales rep for each of these districts. So I put the sales rep here. You can change it if you want. You can put the sales rep here even before the district. So this one has done this much of sales into these districts and this is the total. Total on top. We normally prefer the total at the bottom. So go to design. Subtotal, bottom of group. There. Subtotal, bottom of group. That looks better. You want to further analyze it by brand. So you put the brand below the district or before the district. If you put before the district, then it will be sales rep, brand, district. Okay. So George has done Philips. So maybe we put the district here, then more clear. There you are. Now see. So like that you can pivot it. That's called pivoting. That's the George total, Garmini's total. At the bottom, you get the grand total. You get the grand total this side also. Right? Okay. What are the other things you can do? I think if you are doing pivots, all must be knowing this. Let me remove the brand, district, and I'll say sales rep, how they have done brand wise. These are the sales rep. These are the George has done Philips this much of sales. Right. I want to get a copy of this. What do I do? Control A, Control C, go here and say Control V. Now the same thing is there. The second one, I wanted monthly sales. It's like a small dashboard I'm doing now. Right. Let's say second one I want it by month. I want the month this way or this way. Either way you can put it. I'll put it this way. So I remove the sales rep. Date invoice, you put it here. Now remember, when you put a date, if you are using anything above 2016 version of Excel, automatically will come with the month. Right? So if it comes with the month, if you want it date wise, you can ungroup it. Right? You can say ungroup. Then it come by the date like this. I want it by month the other way. So what do? Right click on any date and say group. This will tell you your starting and the ending date, the smallest and the largest dates in the range automatically. It will pick that. If this goes into two different years, you have to be very careful not to put only the month. Put the year and month both. So as a good practice, I always put the year and month. මොකද මේ එහෙම නැත්තම් වෙන්නේ අවුරුදු දෙකේම January total එක තමයි එන්නේ. So I'll put the year and month. In this case, it's okay. It's the same year, right? Yeah. There you go. So this is my total. February, March. This much of Philips I have done. This much, right? Instead of brand, what? I keep only this. February, March sales. If you want, you put the sales rep here. Then rep wise, I need their breakdown. Okay. Let me remove the rep. Now slicers. Go to analyze and say slicer. What is a slicer? These are your headings. Slicer is a dynamic filter. I want to slice it by sales rep, district, and brand. That's all. If you want, you can put some more, or by customer. Brand I don't need, I'll put these three. Position it. Right. Maybe I'll put it down so that right. Now this, I want to do a chart for this one. Let me put this here. It's nice. So this is how you create these dashboards. Only thing, dashboards will have data from different sources, right? I want to do a chart for this. Click on analyze, select the cell here, do pivot chart. Okay, let me do that chart. That's my chart. I want to do a chart for this. I'll do a pie chart for that. So this is my, now when you go to the meeting, let's say, okay, what has Gamini done? Select Gamini. He had done only in Gaul and Matra. You can see this itself is filtered. Only for Jetwing, Browns. This chart is not changing. This table doesn't change. Why? Because when I did the slices, I was on this. Making Antamayaman slices head. This is how you remove the filter or select everything. So let's say you have so many reports. You need to connect it to all these slices. So you can do it either way. Either connect the slicer to the report or connect the report to the slicer. Both ways you can do. So in this case, I have only two reports. So I'll select the report. Click on analyze and say filter connections. Filter means a slicer. I'll connect this report all to these three filters. Now it will work for both. These filters will work for both. So, දැන් ඔක්කොම වෙනස් වෙනවා. chart දෙකම වෙනස් වෙනවා. So it's like a very basic dashboard, right? The other good thing is, there's another thing which is happening. This is moving. You can see it's slightly moving here and there, depending on the selection, right? There, move now. So I want to keep it steady. Then what do? Right click on this and go to pivot table options and say auto fit column එක අයින් කරන්න. Auto fit column with on update. ඒ කියන්නේ update වෙනකොට automatically මේක හිතමේට ලොකු පොඩි වෙනවා. Remove that. Go to this one also and say pivot table options and remove the auto fit. Now it won't do that. කොච්චර select කරත් it's steady now. නැත්තම් එහෙට යනවා මෙහෙට යනවා. මේක දැම්මම there's no data here, right? But other than that, you can see it's, yeah, steady now. That is because this came up, right? So here we are. You know why that is? That is this is going out. That's why. So if you don't want to see this, there's another way you can do it. You can simply go to analyze and say field list එක අයින් කරන්න. ඒතර field list එක එන්නෙම නැහැ. මේක ඇතුළේ click කරත් එන්නේ නැහැ. Now you can see it's not moving. Whatever it is, it's the same. Steady, right? Okay. So I'll put the field list back. Like that, you can keep on copying one after the other and do anything you want without doing again and again. That's easy. And then connect the filters to all the reports or only one report, whatever you want. Right. Then, what are the other things you can do? I'll move this somewhere here. I want to see this as a percentage. I want to see the percentage of the grand total. What do I do? I put the invoice amount again here. Now when you put it there, it comes onto this side. Why? Because this additional field, when you put more than one field onto this box, you get additional field. If that is on this side, if that is on columns, it will be column wise. If you move it down, what happens? It will be one under the other. There, one under the other. That will decide the layout. And then I want to make this or this, let's say this one, as a percentage. So right click on any of these and say show value as percentage of grand total. At the moment it's no calculation, percentage of grand total. That's a percentage. So 33% done in March, 20% April, May, 27%. Right? You can put any number of times the same figure here. I want to make one of these months as a base item and see what other months how much more and less are. Other months are how much more or less. So which month do you want to make as a base item? Let's say April or May, whatever. Let's take April as a base item. So for this one, I want to see the difference. Right click on any cell. Difference from. What is the base month? April. You can put any month you want. April. See, okay. What happens? April will be blank now. And here you can see. So May is 989, this much more than April. This is this much less than April. This is this much less than April. This is more than April. මෙච්චරක් වැඩි April වලට වඩා. හරිනේ? මීට වඩා මෙච්චරක් වැඩි. The difference between these two is this much. That's a difference from. Right. Let me do another pivot table onto the other side. So the slices, okay. Can you open another sample file? I'll show you how to do a number 10F age analysis. Very useful. Look at this data. You know what age analysis? For debtors you do age analysis, for stocks you do age analysis, right? You block it into different periods, 30-day blocks or 15-day blocks or 45-day blocks, whatever you want. Now here, this is all simple data. Here I have used a formula saying today minus date invoice. That will give how many days outstanding. That's all. Right? Let me do a pivot table, insert pivot table and say okay. What are the fields you need? I need the invoice number, date invoice, customer. This one I don't need. Quantity I don't need. I need the value. Outstanding days, I am going to put it to columns. Get something like that. So this is 56 days outstanding, this one. This is 3 days outstanding. But it looks, it doesn't look good, this report. So what do? Go to design. Remove the subtotals. I don't need subtotals. Do not show subtotals. Go to report layout and make it in tabular form. If you want, now here this item is not repeated. If you say repeat all item labels, all these will be filled. Whatever, there were nothing. Right. Now, looks much better, but not what I wanted. I want it in 30-day blocks. So right click on any number here. Group. This is the lowest, this is the highest. Up to which number of days you are going to analyze it? Let's say 90 days. You can put to 120 or 150. I'll put 90. Not to 90. So what happens to the ones which are more than 90? There will be a block called over 90. That's all. That's a normal. The norm is that. And by 30-day period. That's your. There you are. You got a fantastic age analysis within 30 seconds. Maximum 1 minute. Which I took 1.5 days to write a program in 1984 to Carson Cumberbatch company in COBOL language. Right? Okay. Now it's 30 seconds you can do. Now we have another issue. So next month, we don't have to do it again. This is my additional data. At the moment, we have Haley's, Keels, and Abans. Go to additional data. For Singer, it's a new. I'll copy it and I go down and then put it at the bottom. Now it's a table. Can you see it's a table here? So the moment you put it at the bottom, you can see everything gets. But only this thing came as a date because it's using the today function. So what you have to do is go here, format cells and make it general format. That you have to do. General. Now you can see again it will be numbers, right? So this is my pivot edge analysis. Okay. Now go to the, sorry, this is my data. I'll go to the sheet 1. Has it got Singer? No. What do you do then? Go to analyze and refresh it. Add the data and refresh. Now the Singer also has come in. Can you see? Singer is there. Now I want to send a statement for each customer. The one thing you can do is you can put a slicer by customer and then slice it and then copy and paste it to a sheet and then send it. You can automate it. Put the customer on filters. If you want a separate sheet by customer, you put it here. Remember, you have to have the field here. Analyze. Don't click on options, click on the drop down and say show report filter pages by customer. How many sheets do I have? 1, 2, 3. See what happens at the bottom. This is your Abans, this is your Haley's, this is your Keels, this is your Singer, and this is your summary. Very fast. Okay. So that's how it works. Any questions on this? Let me do another one and show you. Have you all done this? Putting it into filter cage and then getting different sheets earlier? You all don't answer me? As usual? Right. Okay. Let's open another one. There are so many. I'll take the pure shipment schedule. Shipment schedule. 1200 records. Daily shipment schedule. This number of pieces from this factory. Buyer means a customer. Right. Insert pivot table. Okay. I want it monthly by each factory number of pieces shipped. Right click on this group. Same year. So you can only keep months or you can put month and year. Right. There you are. So that's from factory, different factories. Right. Now remember, these things you can change. Number of pieces, you can say total shipped. You can change the headings. Column labels, you can say factory. Factories. Row label, you can say the months. Right. To make it more meaningful. And then this thing, you can go here and put the comma style. And they remove the decimals. Looks much better. Okay. I want to see more data from each factory to this. What are the other things you want to know? I want to see how many shipments have gone there. How many shipments? 1200 records are there. So if I put the date shipped onto this, you can see it comes this way. Why? Because this one went to this column field. I drag it and put it here. It comes one under the other. See whether the total is 1200. Yes, it's 1200. So there are 66 shipments to Batiklo factory in January, and Gaul factory 111, Khatnayak factory this much. So you can see you're getting data which is unexpected sometimes, which you don't have here. If you know the fields properly, you can get it. And when you go for the meeting, sometimes people might ask you, February factory Batiklo 23 shipments. I want to see the details of this. Double click on it. What happens? It will put that detail onto a new sheet. There you go. These are the 23 shipments that has gone in February for Batiklo factory on February. Here, 2 February, month is February, Batiklo factory. So any of these, if you double click, it will put to a new sheet saying what it is. Right? That's another good thing. Because sometimes when you go for meetings, people ask, I want to see the details of that. So just double click and say. Okay, let me show you another thing. I'll remove the count. I'll put the number of pieces again and number of pieces again. You get the same thing. Now it's coming one under the other because this sum value is there. If I put the sum value here, it will be that way. But I'll better put it here. So total shipped, I'll say total pieces shipped. And this one I'll say percentage I'll say monthly percentage by factory. How to get that? Monthly percentage by factory. How to get that? Make a right? Right click on it. Now monthly percentage by factory means every month the total should be 100%. එක මාසෙට මේ ෆැක්ටරියෙන් percentage එකක් කියලාද? January වල කීයද? What is the percentage from each factory? February, what is the percentage from each factory? March, what is the percentage from each factory? So every month it should be 100% as a total divided into 3 factories. So that means your row total is 100%, not the column total. Row total is 100%. So right click, percentage of row total. There you are. And this one I'm going to say the other way. Monthly percentage by factory or factory okay, how shall you call it? Factory's percentage for each month. That's the other way around. So the column total has to be 100. So right click on this percentage of column total. It's the other way around. So it's 100%, 100%, 100%. Each factory for these months, what is the percentage they have set when you analyze the whole year. Then you can get percentage by grand total like that. Then you put another one here. And then I'll say count of date shipped. That means number of shipments. Let me copy this. Control A, Control C. I'll put it here. Control V. This one, I'm going to remove all this. I don't want this. I don't want this. I have the base report. What are the other things you can do? I want to find out the maximum, the highest shipment for each of these. Then summarize value by, earlier it was show value, summarize value by max. This is the largest shipment, right? Maximum number of pieces, we'll say largest shipment. See the amount of information I'm getting from that data. These are the largest shipments for each factory by each month. Let's see whether it's correct. 500 Gall factory March, it says 515 500. Gall March, largest is this. Go to data. Gall March, right? 515 500. No, that's amount. Gall March. Let's see how to get it from here. Filter it. Date shift. Remove everything and select only March. Go to factory. You can get from there. Select all. I need the largest. Right click. Sort. Largest to smallest. 515,500. There you are. That is the value that we got here. 515,500. So, see. So you can do a chart. And then there's another one called analyze, insert timeline. Timeline is a slicer for dates. You can see only the date. If there's a date only, it will come. Date sheet. That's a timeline. You can have it here. But only thing, we have data only from January to June, but it will give up to December. Right? So here we are. January, this is your total. February, this is your total. March, this is your total. If you want from January to April, that's your total. You can expand it. Or you want to see from March and May, there you are. You want to see everything, you click on this. Right. That's the largest shipment. Let me copy this. Control A, Control C. I put it here, Control V. Not the largest shipment. I just want to put the values. Total value in January. Let's say our profit is just 10% of the value or 1% of the value. It's a profit. So I don't have a column for the profit. One way is to put it in the data sheet, in your data collection and bring it here, or without putting there, you can do a calculation. You can have a calculated field. Click on analyze. Fields, items and sets. Calculated field. Let's say profit. What is the formula? Equal. Double click on value USD into 1%. You can put plus something, plus divide, whatever formula you want, you can put it and say okay. You can get another additional field. 1% is also there. Sum of profit, sum of value. There you go. Profit is this much. Here is 1% of this. So you can select all these things. Okay. Put the comma style and remove the two zeros. Double click on H, you can see. Okay. So that's it. So that's the profit, it's a value. Okay, so that's about pivot tables. I think I have taken now 3.5 hours. Only thing, who's Nilanti, who's the HR? Yeah, can you unmute please? Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. May I know who is this? I can see you.
Did you call me, Mr. Asoka? No, right?
Nilanti, right?
Yeah.
You're there.
Yes.
You're the coordinator, no? You are the one we coordinated with?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Now, so Nilanti, you can see, I told you, I mean, it's the content is too much for the time. But anyway, what I can do is, I hope Ajit will agree with me. You give me another hour on another date. I'll finish the other ones. FOC.
So you are the one who is doing the PowerPoint training
Yeah,
also, Mr.
Yeah. So that day.
On that day, you can do it in the first the Excel. You can finish
do
Excel
like
in the first hour.
Yeah. Okay. Is it the same?
And then,
same people?
Yes.
Right. So we have the macro recording, the sum if, count if those things to be covered, right?
Okay.
Right. I
So
think,
you can do it on the PowerPoint,
yeah, we'll
which
start with
is
this and then continue with PowerPoint, right?
yes, I have scheduled it on 14th, so you
Yeah,
can do it on 14th next week.
that's okay. Okay.
Yeah, next Wednesday. Yeah.
Let's say, okay.
Okay. No, now we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah, we'll wrap up. Otherwise, it's too tiring for the people also. 3.5 hours,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Asokar, and
Yeah.
I
Okay.
hope that you all learn a lot from the training and you could polish your the level that you are in the Excel. So thank you so much, Mr. Asokar and Mr. Ajit also.
Right. Okay. And
Thank you
all,
for participating.
yeah, always you can call me if there's any issue while you're working, right? If you
Yeah.
have issue, just call me. Just one more thing. I think one gentleman wanted to know how to count colored cells, how to get a count of
Okay.
the colored cells. Right? I'll just do
Okay.
that. It won't take even 5 minutes, not even 2 minutes. Let's say
All right.
if you are coloring it manually for some reason, let's say I'm coloring these ones, right? I want to find out what
Mm-hmm.
are the color, how many colored cells are there. If you are doing it with the conditional formatting, you can put the same conditional format onto the COUNTIF function, which we haven't done yet. But there's an easy way to do it. You just say, put a filter onto this. On top, you can say, don't sum, say subtotal. Subtotal count A. When you put count A, it will count the text and both, right? Text and numbers. Count A is number 3, comma, and you select the range. Okay? It will give a count of everything. And now you put a filter and then color it, filter by the color. So you can see how many colored ones are there. 3. That's a way out. Otherwise, you have to do a macro for that. Okay? Normally we color it by using conditional formatting, but if you do like that, then we can always use that same formula in the COUNTIF. But if you just ad hoc, if you go and color for some reason and find out how many are there, put the subtotal, the count of the subtotal, and then filter it by the color. Okay, so with that we'll wrap up. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Asok. We'll meet on 14th then.
14th, yes. Okay.
Guys, I think you all learned a lot regarding Excel. So thank you for participating. We'll share an evaluation sheet later so you can fill it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, right.
Asoka, are you there? Asoka? Wait. Amila mang binali de kaking katakan na may ada kata kaliwer la.